Hi, welcome to the small shed. Happy New Year to you all, and time for a quick catch up. I'll see you in a minute. I hope you've all had a good holiday. We had a week or so with the family down in Weston-super-Mare again this year. Super time. Just come back, still in me, not in me work uniform at the moment, but just thought I'd come out in the shed, wish everyone a happy new year, and have a quick sort of look back at what we're doing just prior to Christmas and what we're doing in the new year. I don't tend to make New Year's resolutions because I usually can't keep them anyway, but I have got a few sort of aims that I want to try and get things done and in certain directions, and just sort of quick look at what the channel's doing at the moment and what it's likely to be doing in the new year. Place at the moment is perhaps the worst it's ever been in terms of being a tip. Absolutely everything is out and lying around everywhere, as is the workroom in the house and as is the garage. There is, however, some mitigation in that. The reason I want to sort of try and set out what I want to do with the year ahead is to sort of sort all this out, but also to mention that it's no good making these resolutions when you don't know what's just around the corner. I found this a year and a half ago when, just before Christmas, I went into hospital after, I don't know, an hour or so of not feeling very well, and found myself in hospital for 11 days. This year, in mitigation of the shed disaster, about fortnight, 3 weeks before Christmas, my wife had a very nasty fall on the landing. Fortunately, she hasn't broken anything, but we had a night in A&E and a trip in an ambulance, and she got very badly bruised internally and ribs and things. And it meant that I had about a week and a half, 2 weeks, just before we went down to Weston, of effectively being a carer. And I mean, that's not a problem, I don't mind that. She couldn't sort of reach, stretch, lift or anything like that, so I was having to do quite a lot of bits and pieces like general housework and things like that. The problem was that I'd got two fairly major builds on the go for presents for Christmas for the grandchildren, and of course that all had to fit in around it, and it all just went out the window. I also wanted to do a build for my wife for a Christmas as well, which didn't get done. That one did get left. So I think that's probably the first thing I'm going to be doing after I've cleared up in here. But I'm fortunate in that I mentioned before there were a few bits of videos that I'd started before I sort of didn't do much in the middle of last year. I finished all those. A lot of the projects have been finished, a lot of the videos have now been edited, and I've got the comfortable position that I'm pretty much probably 80 or 90% edited up and ready to publish videos through to about April this year. So that gives me just that little bit of comfort and no pressure that was happening in the past, that you have to fight to get the content out, and therefore you start doing things in a hurry and you don't really ever get time to stop and take stock. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I've got about I reckon it's going to take 2 weeks in here to just tidy everything up and clean it, because I was routering, sawing and all sorts of things. The place is knee deep in sawdust, everything's out of place, it all wants putting away. So I'm going to have a couple of weeks just gently taking the whole thing, and that won't produce any videos or anything, but it'll just make the whole place comfortable to work in again, because I was getting really happy working out here, and this just happened partly because I was doing a lot of stuff hit and miss because of having to rush in and out of the house, but partly also because I was working in the conservatory at the same time, putting stuff together in there because it was too big for the shed. I was working in the garage, getting stuff out of the car because it was full up of stuff. I've had to move the button table into the garage at the moment that was in the car because I didn't want to get it damaged when we moved many sheds, all sorts of things like that. So that's the first thing, is just to take stock, get the place clear, get everything stashed away properly and get it tidy again. One other thing that I did think I wanted to do when I was away on holiday was to just sort of review everything I do in here, because I still think the layout probably isn't right. I think every now and again you need to just stop and have a rethink about things. My little lathe has come back from Menin Sheds because there's no room for it at the new shed, and we've also now got 2 other lathes there anyway. So that is down on the floor in the corner. I don't use it much and I probably won't be using it much, but I have just had a couple of ideas while we've been away. If you see things on YouTube, you think about things. I've seen people making thicknessing sanders using a lathe, and that might be something that would make it useful to me, because I've been making boxes for railway stuff out of old scrap wood, but it needs that cutting down the timber and thicknessing it rather than using the planer to actually sand it would probably produce some of the thin pieces of wood much more easily. So there's things like that I've got in my head that will be projects in the future. The channel is likely to take a slightly more towards model railways bend at some point. Again, in the background over the last 6 months, probably more, 9 months even, I have been doing a lot of gauge 1 stuff, both in 3D printing and in metalwork, if you like, but I'm sort of just toying with the idea that I might do the same as I did with the cycle cart and put the output of the model railway stuff out sort of midweek as a separate time, and that way it sort of delineates between what I would call woodworking-ish sort of stuff and the model railway stuff, and then if people aren't particularly interested in that, they can just ignore it. That also then brings into question the cycle card. I've got to get on and get that finished, so I'm not going to be doing anything on the model railway front with videos until we've got the cycle cart finished and got all the videos done in that series, because that's been frozen for a year. So that is also one of the things I'd like to get done fairly rapidly. The hold up to that at the moment is, as I said, that the button table is in there, the coffee table that we're making. I really have got to get that sorted, but that at the moment is slightly out of my hands. I met with the lady who commissioned it before Christmas, shortly before we moved, and we'd sort of got towards where I'd got all the details of what I thought she wanted written on it, engraving on it, which is ready to do now. But she came up with some new suggestions and some new things that would need artwork and said she'd get them to me, and I'm still waiting for them, so I've got to chase her up on that one, because that's taking up quite a lot of room and it means I can't get on particularly easily with the cycle cart. So that's one thing. In here, as I say, I've been making things, so there's videos coming through for that. There's the model railway boxes I've been building. There's videos coming through for the things that I've been building for the children for Christmas. The Harry Potter one has already, I think, just started. That was finished okay. That's done and dusted. I made a set of railway boards for my other grandson, and that's now all edited up and ready to come along at some point in the future. And as I say, I suspect that having the rejig of the inside of the shed may well produce some more items to build. And one of the problems I've got at the moment is that every time I go for a tool, it's absolutely covered in dust. Now that's causing two problems really. Firstly, it shouldn't be covered in dust because that is obviously again something that's likely to be getting in my lungs, so I want to try and improve on the dust situation. But the other thing I've found is that anywhere where there's a cupboard I don't get the problems, so I'd like to get as much as I can into cupboards in here. This was a Model Railway Club throw out cabinet that we had lying around at the Railway Club. I'd like to get that replaced with something a bit deeper and maybe with a couple of more fold out bits on it. And I think this is where I've started to get towards enjoying what I call pure woodworking again now, and use some of the decent hardwoods that I've got. I've got quite a bit of sapele that I don't normally like as furniture or anything in the house, but I can use that and start and build some nice cabinets for in here, I think. So that's one of the things I'd like to be doing. I've got a couple of things in oak that I need to be building to go in the house. I want to make a stand for my laptop and that by where I sit, so that I can edit videos at night more easily. At the moment it's just lying around on the floor, so I want to get that sorted. There's a thing for the 3D printer that's in front of me that's been there for a year or more, so hopefully I can start and get some of these things done. And there's space in here that when I've had a good chance to have a think about what I want to do, I can probably rejig things. The only bit of wall that's left is the sticker wall over there, but there is quite a bit of room on that, and maybe there's something to be done in building a cabinet there. But I just need to have a think about all of these. There's shelves everywhere that are just gathering dust, and maybe the answer is small narrow cupboards and all sorts of things like that. So I think there's quite a lot of I think there's quite a lot of build stuff in my head and in the pipeline. First thing though is to get these clothes off, work clothes on, get in here and get the place clean and tidy. So I will probably see you in about a fortnight when we hopefully can see the floor, put some of the stuff away, and we'll have some new content. There's also the possibility that I don't know what's happening yet at the new shed. Because I was running around before Christmas looking after my wife, although I got involved in the move of the shed, I haven't been up there since while they were actually sorting a lot of the stuff out up there. They've got a container and moved stuff into that, but we've not really got any plan as yet for the future on that. So I suspect there's going to be a bit of building work up there that will probably get a video or two as well. So hopefully that's where we're going with things. All it remains for me is to once again thank you all for support, and look forward to the new year when we'll have some builds going on, and hopefully we can get things completed and tidied up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something hopefully constructive in the shed. See you then. Bye.